After a week where we didn't really see a huge shakeup in the college football playoff picture, I think that may change in Week 10. I think the twists and turns of this playoff race, we're going to start to see them as we get into the month of November. Before we get to my expectations for Week 10, we'll look back at Week 9, and I didn't do a very good job, honestly. It did not go the way I expected it to go. It almost seems like I'm doing worse and worse at this as we get further into the season. You'd think it'd be the opposite as we get more information about these teams, but was really close on some things, but let's go through it real quick. I said that an undefeated team will lose its first game. Texas A&M dominated. BYU was down for a while, but they did kind of come back and take care of business in their game. There weren't really any other great opportunities. Georgia Tech, they struggled a little bit actually early, but then they took care of business. So really didn't see a big opportunity for an undefeated team to go down, and so we did not have that last week. So I missed the mark there. I said that South Carolina or Mississippi State would pull off a big upset. Boy, was I close, but I was wrong. South Carolina had Alabama beat. Mississippi State had Texas beat. I mean, both of these were very, very close to happening, but they didn't. Mississippi State just found a way to blow that game, and so did South Carolina. Lenore Sellers, for the second straight year against Alabama, had a chance to maybe put the game away or win the game, and he fumbled the football. So yeah, that one didn't happen either. Although I think I was correct in my assessment of these games and thinking that these teams had a really good shot, but they just didn't come through and win the game. So missed the mark there. I said that at least 5 of these games would be one-score games in the SEC. That did happen. Ole Miss, Oklahoma, one score. Auburn, Arkansas. We had Missouri, Vanderbilt was a one-score game. And actually, I think the Auburn game, they kicked a field goal right at the end and made it a 9-point game. So I guess technically I did miss that one. Alabama, South Carolina was close. Texas, Mississippi State, obviously close. The two that were not, Texas A&M, LSU, and then Tennessee, Kentucky, which the Tennessee-Kentucky one was the game I said last week. That's probably the one that doesn't become a one-score game, but really thought that 5 of the other ones would. And I guess technically I did miss it. Was 4, but that Auburn-Arkansas game was very close, and it might as well have been a one-score game. Oregon, Indiana will win big. That did happen. Now, Oregon struggled a little bit early, but they did pull away and take care of business and win their game pretty easily. And then I said it would be a quiet week in the ACC. That's pretty much what we got. We did have Wake Forest upset SMU. That wasn't a big upset. Now, if North Carolina had been able to upset Virginia, which they were very close to doing, that would have been a pretty big shakeup in the ACC. But it played out to where this, again, was a quiet week in the conference. Let's get to my Week 10 expectations. Vanderbilt or Tennessee will get a road upset. So I believe that Tennessee is going to go on the road and beat Oklahoma, or Vanderbilt will go on the road and beat Texas. I see one of those road upsets happening in the SEC. I lean a little bit more towards Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt has been a better team than Texas this year. It is on the road, though, so it'll be tough. That's I think the point spread's like 1.5 or something, so maybe 2.5 now. But those are going to be 2 really good games. But I think the road team is going to get the upset in one of those 2 games. Now we'll go to the Big Ten. I think that at least 5 of these 6 games will be double-digit wins for most likely the favorite. So I think Ohio State wins big. I think Illinois wins big. Indiana wins big. Michigan wins big. Then we've got Michigan State, Minnesota, USC, Nebraska. One of these games I could see being a single-digit win, but I think one of them at least is a double-digit. Like you look at USC, Nebraska, I think Nebraska could pull off the upset there. I also think that game could be a 14-point win either way. I mean, we've seen these teams be so inconsistent this year. So that's definitely one that I think could be. And then I think Minnesota, you feel like that's a low point spread with Michigan State, only a 3-point spread there. You feel like Minnesota should be able to win that game a little bit easier, but maybe I'm wrong. That's why, again, I'm going to say 5 of these 6 games of the Big Ten will be easy wins. And again, the Big Ten has just been like, it's not been the most exciting conference with these teams at the top kind of dominating, but I think we will see some good games down the stretch. I think we'll have some good ones. I know Iowa's going to be involved in some big games, and Ohio State, really, they're not going to be challenged should they play Michigan. Indiana may not be challenged at all. Oregon has a couple of tough games left, so we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, that's kind of my expectation of the Big Ten. And then how about in the Big 12? I think we will see at least one big upset. So we're talking West Virginia shocking Houston, or possibly now I did see that Sam Leavitt is going to be out, so I don't know that Iowa State gets upset, but Arizona State's still a pretty good team, so that you never know. Maybe it's Texas Tech on the road at Kansas State, or maybe it's Cincinnati. Maybe they go on the road and upset Utah. I think one of these games will be a big upset. And again, I'm not really even counting the UCF Baylor or the Arizona Colorado or even the Oklahoma State Kansas, although point spread wise that would be a massive upset. I just don't see that one happening. But we're talking about these other 4 games. I think you're going to see a big upset in the Big 12 this week. And in the ACC, I think you're going to see at least 2 big upsets. So, again, I'm talking about these games. Talking about Miami, SMU, Duke, Clemson. Maybe that's not a big upset, but Duke, Clemson, Louisville on the road at Virginia Tech. We've got Pittsburgh traveling out west to play Stanford. That one could be tricky. Virginia going out west to play Cal. That could be tricky. We got Georgia Tech playing on the road at NC State. The pressure, is it going to get to Georgia Tech? Could they slip up there? Possibly. And then even Wake Forest, Florida State. Like I said in the upset alert video, I think Wake Forest, these have been pretty even teams. So I don't know why that point spread is so big. So you've got a bunch of them to choose from. Miami, SMU, Duke, Clemson, Louisville, Virginia Tech, Pitt, Stanford, Virginia, Cal, Georgia Tech, NC State, Wake Forest, Florida State. That's 7 opportunities for a pretty big upset in the ACC. And our expectation again last week in the ACC was a quiet week. I think it's total opposite of that this week. I think we're going to see maybe even 3 or 4. Who knows? I think we're going to see a big shakeup in the ACC. That's what I'm expecting here in Week 10. And then finally, I think Navy's going to lose their first game. This team just has not been challenged so far. They've won some close games. North Texas is a good football team. I think they do beat the last remaining undefeated Group of 5 team, and they shake things up in the American Conference. Like, I don't know what's going to happen here. You've got a bunch of teams. You know, if North Texas wins, you're going to have Navy and North Texas both with 1 loss. You're going to have Tulane, Memphis, USF. I think there are a couple more teams that could finish the week with just 1 loss. So that American Conference is going to be really fun. Just conference races across the board. The ACC is going to be really interesting. The Big 12. The SEC, if Texas A&M and or Alabama lose a game, if they win out, obviously that one's going to be pretty clear-cut. But I think we're going to see some really fun conference races here down the stretch. Next week, the first playoff rankings will be out. So that adds pressure to these teams. I don't know why, but it seems like the week after that, we always see big upsets. So maybe there's a big upset next week. I haven't even looked at the schedule, so I don't know who it might be. But I think we're going to see a very exciting month of November. And I think it starts this week with some big upsets, especially in the ACC. That's where I think it's going to be. That's going to be the most interesting conference to watch, in my opinion, here in Week 10. Give me your expectations for Week 10 down in the comments below.